all my self-care family and friends. Welcome back to another Room to Breathe podcast. I am your host, Life Coach 614, and I am so glad that you made space to be here today. Now, before we get into this episode, do me a quick favor. If you're feeling the vibe, go ahead and show some love. Tap the screen, like, comment, and share this out with someone who might need a little extra healing energy today. And if this is your first time here or you haven't already done so, be sure to hit that follow button, subscribe to our channel, so that way you're tapped in when a new episode drops. I also want to personally invite you to check out our digital home at theselfcareclub.org, where you'll find everything from affirmative apparel to motivational merch and free resources to nourish your growth and remind you that you're supported every step of the way. Just know this. You don't have to do it alone. We are healing in community, growing one breath, one moment, and one day at a time. So today, give yourself permission to pause, to reflect, and to make space for peace, for growth, and most importantly, for you. And as always, if anything in today's episode hits home, be sure to drop a green heart in the chat. It is our way of saying, I'm healing, I'm growing, and I'm showing up for me. Now, let's get ready to breathe, reflect, and grow together. Today, we have the amazing Tay Robson joining us today. She is an author, a life strategist, a community builder, and a voice of hope for so many. She has turned some of her deepest pain into purpose. And today, she's joining us as we dive into her healing journey, and, just learning how to breathe again. Okay, family? So please, please, please help me welcome the incredible Tay Robson into the Room to Breathe. Queen, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm so happy that you joined us today, Queen.
I'm happy to be a part of this. We've been working on this for a while, and I'm glad that we finally got in the space and in the room together so we can share and absorb each other's energy.
Absolutely. I love those energy exchanges. And you're right. We've been trying this. Listen, I'm not ashamed to tell y'all, we have attempted this several times. And we had to wait until the universe aligned for us to get this right. So it's a blessing that we're here today together, right?
It definitely is. But it's our time. It's our time. And I believe that it didn't come together because it wasn't time for it. And now it's time for it. So here we are.
Here we are. Yes. And before we even get into your story, I want to check in with your soul. Sis, I want to ask you, how is your spirit doing today?
My spirit is great. I have just been on this amazing ride. I'm not just the only author in my house. And so that has been, it's been joy bringing to walk alongside my 12-year-old grandson, who is also now currently releasing his own book and sharing his story, which is my story, which is his story, his brother's story. And so together we are combining forces to share a grief story, to share a healing story, to share a story of empowerment and purpose. And I think that has probably been the most soul stirring thing that I've experienced in a long time.
Absolutely. And it's such a blessing. I can't wait for us to, really get into this story. Because again, once, we first met and I talked to you, I was like, oh yeah, this is a story that we have to share with our self-care community. Because it's something that I believe that a lot of people will relate to on so many levels.
Yeah.
So, and so I know that, people look at you and they see the powerhouse that you are today, but there's always a story behind our glow, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to start with let's kind of go back to the beginning, right? Take us back a little bit to who Tay is at her core, and what parts of your personal journey brought you into this moment, into this the life that you lead today.
Well, Tay at her core, I would be remiss if I didn't mention first and foremost, I'm a believer. I am Bible reader, believer in Christ, believer that Jesus was born, lived, died, and resurrected. I am also, I've been in social work and social services for 34 years in my life. And so I've committed my life to the help field to meet people in their deepest, darkest moments and moments of great crisis and trial. I am this is my 2-time published author. However, I have 7 other books waiting to be released over the next year. And I'm a life strategies and grief support coach. And it's my calling. It's what I do. It's the work of my heart. It's a labor of love. And it's my purpose. So I feel like today, more than any day in my life, even with the greatest of trials, I'm actually walking in my purpose.
Yeah, listen, it's so powerful, right?
Yeah.
It's like we go through life knowing who we are, but not
Yep.
fully understanding who we are or what we're being called to do.
Yep.
And so I have become almost infatuated with hearing people's stories of what led them, to being where they are now. And I'm fascinated by everyone's walk into their purpose. So again, it's just so powerful. Knowing that a person who, again, we're believers, right? That's one of the things that we're aligned on. And so having that belief, but then being obedient to that, because there's a lot of people who believe, but will not obey, and so having that aligned for you is such a blessing. It's such a beautiful thing, especially knowing that life continues to life around us. And so I know that part of your story includes walking through some seasons of deep grief.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable? Can you share how those experiences, kind of shaped the heart of Hey You, which is, the primary focus of what we're talking about today, right? Hey You. So can you maybe share with the community how, things have, I guess, occurred in life that led you to this?
Sure. 7 years ago, I I experienced the greatest loss of my life. My daughter was unalived by a former partner she was not with. They had broken up 6 months, 5.5 to 6 months prior to. She started dating someone else, and on a night, she took a night off work to be at home with her kids to just watch a movie and fellowship with her babies, and received a knock at the door. And when she opened the door, a fight ensued. Her children were standing right by, and she was shot 5 times and killed.
Yeah, that's definitely one of, I don't know, it's an unimaginable thing to go through, and to still be able to, I don't know, I'll use the word function, right? Because I think there's a point where all we're doing is just functioning. And so how did, for you, because this is again just such an unimaginable grief, how do you go from, I guess, maybe processing your grief to then helping other people process theirs? What did some of that journey look like for you?
Well, it was the single most life-altering experience of my life. She was my oldest daughter, and in one moment, my entire life changed. Literally, the every crevice of my life was different. Every part of my life had been ratified, and every season of my life felt transformative. And so, how do you go from that to being someone who's able to now assist others and advocate and walk alongside them? Great prayer, great investment in God's will and God's word, and trusting that this is purposeful, even though it's hurtful. And it didn't mean I wasn't angry. It didn't mean I wasn't hurting. It didn't mean I showed up polished and perfect. It meant that no matter what way and in what direction this grief took me, I trusted that God would meet me at the other side of it. And he did.
Yeah. And that's how you birthed, this amazing book here, right? Hey You.
Yeah.
And it's a healing workbook for becoming, belonging, and breathing again. And so in the process of me kind of going through, the book, I know that you talk about just the process of, almost like a reinventing,
Oh, yeah.
if that makes sense. Do you want to share a little bit about, just the journal and how these experiences, I guess, I don't know, evolved maybe?
Honestly, Hey You started with the whisper in my own healing.
Mm-hmm.
It I've been carrying so much silently, wearing silence like an armor and resilience like a cloak. And I didn't realize that I realized later on that I wasn't alone in that. As I started to really participate in the bereaved community and met other mothers and other individuals who were child loss survivors, I began to really recognize that this wasn't just an isolated experience. There were others that were existing like I was. And this book began, Hey You became a personal exhale. It became a way for me to breathe. It became a way for me to slowly create a space that I wanted to offer to others, especially those who were carrying strength and struggle at the same time.
Yeah.
So in my own journey, there are moments where it was breaking. There are moments where it was building. There are moments where I thought the world was going to collapse on top of me. And then there were moments where I felt like a phoenix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And these, it's like the concepts that go with this are truly like your lived experiences. So I know, like, even as you're writing this, it's one thing when we kind of put content out that, is like advice content or based on, scientific evidence for this, whatever. But it's like when we put ourselves out there, when we heal out loud, I guess, our content then becomes a lived experience. These are the things that we felt. These are the things that we've seen, that we have gone through or are going through, right?
Yeah.
And so, thinking of your story, which, with the becoming, the belonging, the breathing, right? Because they're all very different stages of this.
Yeah.
Which one of those for you personally would you say was the hardest stage, and what helped you move through it?
Definitely becoming. Well, no, I'm going to take that back. I'll retract that. Definitely breathing. Because at the onset of my loss, I could not breathe. I didn't know how. I was suffocating on my own grief. I was at a point where even at a place in that journey, I was fine if God said, you're done and you don't wake up today. And so definitely breathing, because it was becoming, belonging, and breathing were things that I had forgotten. I had forgotten how to do. And the hardest for me was breathing, because I was existing in survival mode. And I had 3 babies now, literal babies, to provide for, one of which had lost his mom 4 days before his 5th birthday. So while we were trying to process a loss, we were planning a birthday so that there wouldn't be a step missed, so that he didn't realize how terrible life had actually become. Yeah. And it got to a place where I was like, this is more heartbreaking than I could have ever imagined. I don't think anybody can truly imagine the heartbreak, but realizing that you can't break and you've got other people hoping and holding on to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we want to just kind of lay down and throw in the towel, but we know we can't afford to
do it.
There are people counting on us, and there are things that must be done, and so what moment, if you remember, the moment where things hit you that, this healing that I have to do isn't just for me, that this is also something that I have to, almost put in the hands for others. What moment did you know, Hey You is not just for me, right? That I have to do this for other people.
Gosh. So Hey You, the original Hey You, I started writing 8 years ago. My daughter was still with me. And I remember sitting on the back porch and having a conversation with her. And we were talking about being friends, because I would always tell them, no, I'm not your friend. You're going to have enough friends. You're going to meet enough friends. I'm not your friend.
Yeah.
I'm your mom. And because I'm your mom, it requires me to have to do some really tough things that friends can't carry. And friends can't be worried. Friends have to worry about if what I'm going to do is going to make you angry, if you're going to stop talking to me or whatever. I'm your mom. I can't worry about those things. If you're going to stop talking to me, go in your room, slam your door, whatever. But I know I did what was best for you. And we sat on the porch and she asked me if we were friends. And she said, I told her, yeah, absolutely. Now you understand motherhood. You understand the hard choices that have to be made, and the tough decisions that you'll have to navigate, and circumstances that you'll have to deal with after you've made those tough decisions. Yeah. And she said, Mom, are you ever going to finish your book? At that time, I was writing my autobiography and Hey You, which is actually the second installment to Best Piece of Advice. And she said, Mom, are you waiting for something amazing to happen, or to be amazing to finish your book? And it was like, I don't know. It was like an epiphany. I had never thought that. I didn't realize that maybe that's what was happening. And she looked at me and she said, if you're waiting to do or be amazing, Mom, you're already amazing. Yeah. And I was like, and then the following year, the worst thing in my life happened. And I stopped doing everything. All the joy was gone. There was, I didn't see a reason. I didn't know if I had anything to say. And my words were gone. Literally, my words were gone. I couldn't even articulate what I would say, even if I did have something to say. And then finally, I went to a grief retreat with a wonderful organization called The Memory Grows. And I sat there with 5 other moms who had experienced the loss of their children in similar ways through gun violence. And it's like something woke me up, and I realized that, this is not just for you. A lot of other people need to hear this. A lot of other people need to take this journey with you. And it took 2 more years. Yeah. It took 2 more years, and I had picked Hey You up. I had started editing it. I had paid someone to edit it, and it just didn't sound right. It didn't feel like me. It did feel like me, but it felt like me at another time. It didn't live up to or live into who I am today. Right. And so 4.5, 5 months ago, I started back at it again in the lab. And then 4 months later, not only was Hey You born, but it also has 4 siblings. Yes. Now let's jump into Hey You, right? Because I think this is the perfect time to even, I don't know, to get to the part when I was kind of going through the book. I am going on my own Hey You journey, y'all. Okay. Yes. Y'all see, I got the book, y'all. Okay. Yes. Now I want to talk about number 7. Okay. Like, they got to get the book to make it to 7. Okay. But I feel like this is just a perfect time, because number 7 is called, and let me make sure I get it right, y'all. She got it all together, but she's still hanging on by a thread. Yeah. And when I say, I was like, okay, do I really need to do 1 through 6? Because number 7 speaks directly to me. Can you share this? Because I know so many people within my community, this is something that we all probably identify with, because it looks good on the outside. We are glowing, we are thriving. Yeah. But real talk, we are hanging on by a string. Like, let's talk about this. Yeah. And you picked a good one, because I think that especially those of us who are mothers, who are nurturers, who are caregivers, who are providers, who are taking care of others in our space, children, family, loved ones, or even at work, you're carrying things. And so we're taught as women to polish up. Don't let them see you sweat. Even if you're breaking, you show up. Mm-hmm. But then when are we given the permission to break? When are we given the permission to self first? Not not selfish, but self first. And that's where that came from. I got babies the night that my daughter passed away, and I never had the opportunity to stop. I was pounding the pavement. I was making things happen. I was navigating grief and trauma and all the things, not just for her kids, but for my kids. Because she was the oldest of three, and they were great, great friends and very close. And she's my mom's first grandchild. And so when she wasn't here anymore, we all started falling apart. But I had to keep it together. And I don't think people realize that in the midst of that, God knows, I was hanging on by a string, by a thread. And so, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's why it's so relatable. You know, even though we all experience life differently, but just to know that, you know, on the outside we show up perfect and polished and pretty, right? But on the inside, many of us are literally just hanging on. And that's why I wanted to invite you to just maybe tease the readers a little bit, you know, so they can understand this, because I feel like this is going to bless someone right now listening to this. Like I said, me picking up the journal and going through it, I landed on that. Like my bookmark has been right there, because I was like, this is so me. This is where I am right now. So I want them to be able to hear it from your voice. And like I said, let it bless someone right now.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to share parts of Hey You, because I think that people have an idea of what Hey You is, but they have no idea what Hey You is. And so I would lovingly and happily read this. It's page 29 in Hey You. And the name of this Hey You is She's Got It All Together, but She's Hanging On by a Thread. Part 1. It's in the mirror chapter. Hey You, number 7. The one who looks like she's got it handled. Your outfit is matching, your calendar's packed, and you've even got a go-to prayer for everyone else's crisis. But nobody knows how close you are to cracking. They don't see the silent swirl of anxiety behind your smile. They don't feel the pressure to keep showing up even when your soul whispers, "Can I sit this one out?" They don't know that you've been editing your emotions and so long that you've forgotten what unfiltered truth even sounds like. But you know, and God knows. And today, I just want to remind you, your strength isn't in your performance. It's in your permission to be honest. You don't have to wear the cape. You don't have to keep the schedule if it's costing you your sanity. You're allowed to say, actually, I'm okay today. And guess what? Saying that doesn't make you weak. It makes you brave. So cry if you need to. Laugh in the middle of a breakdown. Cancel the meeting. Eat the cookies. Text a friend. Talk to God out loud in your bonnet with your forehead wrinkled and a side eye. He's still listening. God knows your heart and your facial expressions. You're loved. You're seen. You are never too much and never too messy for a God who knows your soul better than your social media. So, Hey You.
I was like, she wrote this book just to me, y'all. Okay. I felt like reading that part hit so deep for me. And I feel like so many people, if they're being honest with themselves, can relate to, you know, showing up on the outside while truly struggling on the inside.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Like I said, I'm so excited and have referred this book to so many people from page 29 alone. Like 29 and 30, I'm like, get the book, open it, let it bless you. Because sometimes I think we do need permission to pause, to breathe, you know, things like that. Because again, we have been conditioned over the years. Society teaches us to hustle, to keep moving, to keep going. To get over it, right? That's the big thing that we hear. Oh, this happened, get over it. You know, people say, oh, I'm sorry for your loss, move on. You know, And there's, you know, rarely do we actually get that permission to just pause. You know, to just be whatever that is today, whether it is vibrating high or vibrating low, just be, just feel what you have to feel, you know?
Oh, I have dogs.
No problem. We love the fur babies around here. In fact, they're our emotional support many times, right?
Literally.
Now, I know why you've been pouring into Hey You. You've also been supporting your grandson as he
Yeah.
recently released his own book as well. Now, I don't
Yeah.
have the paper copy of it yet, but you guys, I have it on Kindle and I am in love. Okay. So before we, I guess, dive into the story behind his project,
Yeah.
look, you're like, I gave you assignments today. Okay. I need you to share pieces because the same way page 29 of Hey You resonated with me. I read, and I call him nephew now. Just
Yeah.
tell him he got a new auntie. Okay. When I read nephew's book, he got me on page 1. Okay. Like the very beginning, he came out the gate swinging. Okay. Can you tell us first, I guess, maybe a little bit about what his project is about and how this came to be for him? Because obviously we know you're an author, but now
Yeah.
how did he decide that he wanted to step into that?
Well, yeah, I am an author, and I spend a lot of time sometimes in writing. Now that I can, I've been 7 years without words, not able to literally write one page, one word on a page, maybe a paragraph, maybe a sentence. And so my story is his story. His story is my story, and I released Hey You, and I've been talking to them because, of course, what I do with my life, what I've done in my life, I didn't realize God had positioned me with all of the things I've done in my life to be prepared for the worst time of my life, but also to parent children of trauma at some point. And so being in social work and social services and all the training and all the things I've done, even coaching, it said, you ready. And I was talking to him one Saturday morning, and I was doing Hey You, and he said, I can write a book. I said, you could. And he said, but I don't know how that looks. And I said, yeah, I get that. I said, but you know what? There's a way that we can do this together. And he was like, how will we do that? And I said, you tell me your stories and I'll put them together and I'll arrange them. But they're your stories and they're your words. You just tell me what words. You choose the title. You choose the author name. You choose what you want to call this book and how this book should look and what you want to talk about. And I'll do my best to make it so. And he said, that's it. And I was like, that's it. And so next thing I know, we sat for several weeks and I listened and I recorded and we got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to try and put this together and I'm going to do my best to honor you and your story. And you just tell me what you want to do with it. And he said, I said, so what do you want to call this book? And he said, I asked a lot of questions. I said, you do ask a lot of questions. And he said, so what can we call it? I was like, I don't know. We can have something with questions. And he said, kind of Unfiltered. I was like, okay. So we played around with some names and he came up with Unfiltered, the kid who asked why. And I was like, okay, the kid who asked why. Yeah. And I said, so what do you want your author name to be? And amazingly, something so simple, but so fitting, R. Cooper. They're all Coopers and he's the oldest and he is R. Cooper. And so now he has this amazing, I personally think his book is more amazing than mine. I love this book. I have looked at his book. I've shared his book. And yesterday he became an author, not just in this house, but in the public library where we live. He had his book added to the public library. And that's something not even I've done. And it talks about big feelings and identity and loss and grief and having questions that may make adults uncomfortable, but are very important to him. And so here we are today with Unfiltered, the kid who asked why, by first-time 12-year-old author R. Cooper. And I'm the co-author of Unfiltered.
You know what I love the most is that he embraced something that other people sometimes consider as a flaw, right? Yeah. Because as an adult, we have all been annoyed by children's questions, right? It's the timing of it. It's the fact that we've had to, answer it time and time again, and reading his book served as a reminder for me as an adult to just pause and understand that as adults, we've been on this earth a lot longer, right? So we've already asked these questions,
Yeah.
and we think that we know it all, but it just reminded me to just pause and show them some patience and show them some grace, because the way we answer their questions, the way we react to their questions is forming who they are going to become. And so I love the fact that he embraced what many people consider to be a flaw and was like, I don't care. I'm just gonna be me, and you can do, like, when I say that this baby's confidence, y'all, is through the roof. That's why I said, like, page 1, the very beginning of his book, he came out swinging. Like, I don't care what people think, I'm gonna ask my questions. Are you able to read that section for us? I don't know. It's page 9 on my Kindle, but I think it would be probably like the very first opening of his book.
Yeah, it's the opening of his book.
Yeah.
And I think I know exactly which space you're talking about.
When he said, I mean, the first thing this baby said was, they say I talk too much.
They say I talk too much.
I was like, I'm hooked.
And the beautiful thing about it is, he oftentimes, sometimes he'll say, they always say I'm extra. They say I talk too much. And it's like, okay, but yeah, let's jump into his, because it's a great first start, right? It's a great out the gate. Mm-hmm. So this is Unfiltered, The Kid Who Asked Why by R. Cooper. And it's on page 2 that we're going to read from the actual paperback book. They say I talk too much, like my words are a problem, like my thoughts should come with a mute button. But what if I just have a lot to say? What if my brain is like a crowded hallway, doors flying open, thoughts spilling out, and I'm just trying to keep up? I'm the oldest of 3 boys. That means I'm the one who's supposed to know better, act better, be better. It also means I'm the one who has to lock his door at night so his brothers don't sneak in and play Xbox until 3 a.m. Yeah, I know. I'm the mean one for that. But I call it boundaries. Sometimes I feel like I'm too loud for the world. Too many questions, too many thoughts, too many feelings. But I don't think I'm too much. I think I'm just built different. And the right people get me. They get me. I don't talk about my mom a lot. She passed away 4 days before my 5th birthday. I don't remember everything, but I remember enough. The smell of her cocoa butter lotion, the way her laugh filled a room like music, the way she called me little professor when I asked too many questions. I still ask questions, maybe because some answers never came. Maybe because silence feels heavier than words. And maybe that's why I write, because sometimes writing feels like talking to someone who actually listens. So yeah, I'm extra curious, extra loud, extra me. And this book, it's my way of saying, I'm not sorry for that.
And then that's the mic drop right there. It's, oh my gosh, like, to me, that is just legacy in action.
Yeah.
Because in talking to you, I can see how strong you are. And to know that in the process of you healing, you have helped him heal as well. You are helping him healing as well. And not just doing so behind the scenes. You're helping him to heal and to truly walk into his light on his own. Because like I said, he started off saying, they say I talk too much. He points out all of the things that society has projected on him, making him feel like he's too much, that he's too extra. And he's like, but yeah, I am extra. He's like, you say that like it's a bad thing. I'll be extra loud. And he's like, and I'm going to be extra me. Yeah. And I'm not sorry for it. Like, I don't think I've ever met an unapologetic 12-year-old before. Like he's my first to know that he's like, yeah, I don't even really care. Like that's not, people will try to make you think like, oh, that's cockiness. No, that is unapologetic confidence. Yeah. No, he's like, at age 12, I've been through some stuff that adults haven't even experienced. So I'm gonna live out loud, and I love that for him. I love that for both of you, for all of you, because again, he's the big brother, right? So he is literally setting the stage for his younger brothers. Yeah. Absolutely. And he knows what is expected of him, but then he's also like, but I'm going to be me. Like, I know what y'all want me to do, but I'm going to live my life. And honestly, I feel like that's what his story is saying. And like I said, for me, it was just a reminder as a parent to stop and to pause and to show grace. And I don't even know if his book was written for that purpose, because I know he speaks gamer, right? Like,
Yes.
I've definitely picked up on some things and I'm like,
Yes.
oh, that is my son all day. But it's like, it's a blessing. Like, I think that this book can bless so many teens who are reading it, because they'll be able to identify and understand it. But then for us as adults, I think it also blesses us in a different way, to be able to understand what they are going through, because you don't only experience life as an adult. We experience it as a child too. And that is something that we carry into adulthood. So I just love it. Like, when you told me about it, I think the first time we talked and you shared it with me, I had started reading his before I started reading yours. And I was like, oh, I'm already hooked. Like, page 1, he sat me all the way down. Okay. Nephew was like, look, Auntie, have several seats, read this book. I was calling people like, listen to this. They're like, he's 12. I'm like, yeah. Like, what is going on here, And it also, like I said, made me want to also reach out to so many other young people to say, what are you thinking? Like, what is going on in your mind with, whatever situation it is that they may be going through. So I thank him, on the adult level, for sitting me down for a moment and making me pause to understand, our babies are going through things too. And that's something that I think as adults, we often take for granted. We just kind of push their feelings aside. And so let nephew know that I thank him for sharing his story as a means of making me just stop and pause and, start to look at the youth to know that they have a story to tell as well. But we need to let them ask their questions, and we need to encourage them to write their stories, whether it's actually a book or just speaking their truth out loud. I love this. And I love that, the Unfiltered and Hey You combo, like that's a package. Okay. Yeah. We're going to help the adults. We're going to help the children. Like, listen, this is a huge shift. And so I love, seeing that your family is healing together. And that you are passing that wisdom down to the next generation. And so is he, for his little brothers. And I think that's just something that's so amazing. Like,
we have a sneak peek of a little brother. That's T. Cooper.
Well, hi, T. Cooper.
You can go for it.
Hi. I love impromptus. He's like, I'll say hi after I know I get my snacks.
Yeah. Can I get what I want? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go for it. And, I love this because you're not just writing books. I honestly believe that you are creating spaces for healing.
Yeah.
And there's even more, let's expand even more from you being the author, because you have these spaces, the Grief Can't Hold Me space. You have the Teddy Bear Project. Can you share a little bit about what these spaces are also about?
Yes. So Grief Can't Hold Me is a product of just this brief journey. And thank you for seeing that. Thank you for recognizing that there was more than just books. We are not just writing books. Unfiltered and Hey You are a combo. Why? Because they tell the complete story. Mine, theirs. And the beautiful thing is that he's all about his family. He's all about his brothers. They're all over his book. And he talks about just how they're navigating. But Grief Can't Hold Me is a product of that. It's GCHM, which stands for Grief Can't Hold Me. And if you are in a hurting space, grief can't hold you either. And part of that project which is now officially a 501c3 as of 1 week ago. We got the paperwork from the IRS showing that GCHM is officially 501c3. And the Teddy Bear Project is a part of that. What is the Teddy Bear Project? I'm actually going to ask, hey, Talon, do you mind going to get Granny's teddy bear out of her room for me when you're done with what you're doing? The Teddy Bear Project is a project that we created in remembrance of Deja last year. I've done events, I've done fundraising for domestic violence and intimate partner violence, yada, yada. But I felt like, yes, people come, they donate money, and we donate it to Safe Haven organization here in Fort Worth. But the reach wasn't far enough for me. I wanted to tell her story. I wanted to walk alongside other parents who thought that they were by themselves. And I wanted to remind them that no matter what you think has happened in your life, God is still present. God is still faithful. And heaven has seen and recorded everything that you've gone through. And so in order to do that, I went to sleep. I prayed and I went to sleep one night. And I said, God, I just want a way to remember and honor her that sets your glory on high. I want something that allows people to know that you're still here, you're still faithful, you still honor and answer prayers, and you keep your promises. And I woke up the next day with this entire project laid out before me after going to bed and not really knowing what I was going to do. Teddy Bear Project is grief support bears that we package and mail out, sometimes deliver to individuals who have experienced the loss of a child or significant grief. Hey, R. Cooper. And so we include not just the bears, but we educate on what the stages of grief are. There's a small gift from me that just teaches you how to take care of yourself while you're grieving. And some other things like the Mourner's Bill of Rights, because a lot of people don't even realize that there are rights. You have rights as someone who is grieving, someone who is mourning, and what those rights look like. And then the teddy bear is just a soft, cuddly cushion reminder that you can pour that love into when you miss that person that is no longer with us. You just grab it and you can pour that love into it. And right now we are 267 bears in 17 states in just 1 year.
That is such a blessing. And people don't understand sometimes it is the little things, just having that bear. When I was grieving my miscarriage, I had a bear and it was just my go-to. It's kind of like almost like our security blanket, like we all have that cushion pillow or the bear, things like that. And like I said, for some people, they don't understand the connection that one can have with that. But when we do lose someone and we can't wrap our arms around them, we need something.
Sure.
That brings us compassion, or that just brings us eases the pain of what we're experiencing. So yeah. I love that connection with the Teddy Bear Project, and I know that is something that blesses so many people. Mm-hmm. And you said in 1 year, 17 different states. Yeah, that's amazing. That is so amazing. And I love the whole Grief Can't Hold Me project because grieving is something that is so paralyzing, that we've all experienced it in one form or another. And so it is something that just kind of freezes us in our tracks, right? But you're like, no, it can't hold you. It may stop something here, it may slow something down, but at the end of the day, it cannot hold you. You have to reclaim your power. And that doesn't mean that we forget, that doesn't mean that we're getting over it. It just simply means we're getting through it.
That's right.
We're growing, we're evolving. Yeah. Yeah. And exactly. You have a choice, right? And it's, you have to choose it. And, I don't know. That's the big thing about grief. You have to choose it, or you don't. You can choose to sit in it, or you can choose to say, I want to get out of this. I don't want this. So I love the Grief Can't Hold Me project, the Teddy Bear Project, all of it. I love how it is giving people a choice and letting people know that they do have a choice. Yeah. And, every single thing about what you're doing is so aligned with the whole Room to Breathe project, right? We're all looking for space to breathe and room to grow. And so I love that you are, another beautiful soul that has taken their pain and turned it into a purpose. You are making space for people to heal. You are making space for people to grow in community. It's not just something you're doing in your house. You have literally expanded far beyond your household. And so for that, I just take my hat off to you, Queen. I just say kudos to you, because every single step that you have taken has been intentional, and I want to point something else out too, because when I think of intentional and Hey You, I noticed out the gate something about Hey You. We're going to talk about this color orange, right? Because I'm a visual person, and I know that colors aren't just visual, right? Like I'm a person who believes that colors carry energy, emotion, and healing power. And
Yeah.
so when we talk about this book, y'all, okay, and intentional, orange, the color orange is especially known to spark creativity. Orange represents courage, warmth, right? It's a color that encourages us to embrace vitality, joy, even in the most tender moments, right? It's
Yeah.
like a gentle nudge reminding us to show up for ourselves and courage and compassion. So initially when I got the book, I'm like, "Oh, I love it already because that is what orange represents to me." And so I notice how throughout this book, orange is so prominently featured.
Yeah.
Can you share what the color means for you and why you chose this to represent this healing journey in Hey You?
You and I talked about that because you're one of the few people who actually caught it. You're like, no, there's something with this orange. And you're absolutely right. And for all the reasons that you said, but they're to delve a little bit deeper, to go a little bit further in it. Orange is also fire. It's refinement. It also stands for being refined. And so, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, it is the beautiful color of refinement. Because oftentimes when we're in spaces where we're experiencing great trial, great upheaval, we think that that we're being destroyed. In reality, we're being defined.
Right.
And we're being refined. And so, yes, orange is very intentional. It is all the parts of Hey You that I love. It's the trial, it's the triumph, it's the being feeling like you're being destroyed when you're truly being defined. It's not punishment, it's preparation. And people don't realize that throughout it, you'll see the little fire emojis all over the place. Oh, my daughter's coming in, and my dogs are gonna yell. But you're truly being brought to a higher level and prepared for what is to come from whatever trial you're in at the time. We don't realize that even, yes, those trials, they mean something. They're carrying us somewhere. They're intentional, and they're allowing us to. No, Sam. No, sir. My Chihuahua barks more than my shepherd. Sam. It's okay. Give something. Can you get by me? But my daughter's coming in and she's coming through the back, so it's going around. You think you can? Got it. Say hey baby. Hi. And so it is intentional. Orange is very intentional. It is for the person who feels like they're in the fire. It's for the person who feels like they're being tried to their last bit and they're not gonna make it. You're gonna make it. You're going to make it. You're not being punished. You're being prepared.
Yeah, like I said, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I know there's something. Like that was one of the first questions that I was ready to race to you and ask, like, what's with orange? And when you even mentioned fire, it made me look at the book again and I'm like, oh, it does look like fire, And I knew that there had to be a deeper story with that. And I love that intention. When we create things, there's such an intention that goes into it because, we pour our heart, our soul into these things and we want other people to receive that. And so I don't know. Like I said, I just love the intentional placement of the colors. Even, Hey You, I know the story behind Hey You, but even the name of the book is bigger than Hey You. What can you share what that is for them? Because I want people to know how much purposeful intention was placed into this book, that it's from your whole family, right? It's all of your experience that you have now kind of packed into this book to gift to us. What is Hey You?
I love the fact that you asked the question because just yesterday a friend of mine got her book. She wouldn't. She's like, I don't want it off Amazon. I was like, well, then how do you want it? She's like, I want it from you because I want it autographed. And so I was like, makes sense. And so when she got it and she unboxed it on her social media, I love that she said, and this, hey you, because what you doing anyway? Because what you doing anyway? Right. She's like, It's talking directly to you. And again, another person caught a nugget. It's directly to you. It's my signature greeting. If you ever talk to me, if you've ever dealt with me, if you've ever been in shared space with me, that's how I greet people. Hey, you. I'm talking directly to you. I don't care if I'm in a crowd of people. I'm going to say, hey, you. Why? Because I'm talking directly to you. I don't care if there's a million people. This is singular. This is directed at you. You've got my full undivided attention. We are having a conversation. And that is, hey, you. It's not just, hey, you, and Pat. No, it's, hey, tap on the shoulder. You, I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Because like Molly said, what are you doing anyway? Like, what are you doing anyway? Hey, you.
Yeah. And it's so funny because it stood out to me because my husband greets everyone like that. And I used to look at it as almost some sort of insensitivity. Like, do you not remember their name? Do you not, remember the person? But he's like, no, like, because it's you. Hey, you, And so when you said that, I was like, oh, my husband's going to love when I tell him that, because he's like, yeah, that's exactly how I feel when I greet people. And I'm like, okay, again, so intentional for me, the alignment of how, hey, you aligned with how my husband speaks. The way you viewed the color and the symbolism behind that, and the fact that you purposely poured those things in. I was like, oh, we locked in, sis. I was like, there's so much intention, so much purpose in all of this. And I'm here for that. And that's why, we started off telling you guys that we've tried this several times, but it wasn't, it just wasn't aligning. Even though we had aligned, the conversation just wasn't aligning. The timing of it wasn't there. And we were okay with that. That doesn't mean we didn't try, because we tried. We tried several things. We logged out, we logged in, we unplugged, reconnected, disconnect, like we did all of that. And at the end, we laughed and we said, it ain't our time. Nope. I'm like, Tay, it ain't our time. You like, Tay, it ain't our time. And I'm like, okay, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And that's just, to me, that was just also a reminder of life. Like, we show up in life and we try things, and sometimes it all works out and other times it doesn't, but we have to understand, like, hey, you, that wasn't your time, So I love how all of this is coming together. I love all of the work that you are doing. And I'm so excited for this to be out there for everyone. Because again, I feel like the work that you are doing in the community is so needed. And I know that it is going to bless a lot of people, because it's blessing me in more ways than one. Like, I just want you to know that the work that you are doing is blessing me. And if it's blessing me, then that also means it is blessing my household. So, I mean, I'm a person where it starts at home, and at home it's first me. I'm excited. Like I said, I keep holding this up. I need for people to understand this is not just conversations. I went out there before she even knew it. I already had this book in my cart. I had already checked out. By the time we first met, I was like, yes, I got the book and it's orange. What's that about? So she was even shocked. So I just want people to understand that there are real people that are healing, that are being blessed by this. And like I said, if no one else has told you today, like, what you are doing is blessing me, I thank you for that. And as we begin to kind of close things out, I want to give you the opportunity to speak to someone right now who is listening, and maybe they feel stuck in grief or unsure if they're ever going to breathe again. I wanted to know, what's one truth that you want them to carry with them after hearing this episode today?
If there's one truth that I want someone to carry after seeing this episode, it is that your healing can't wait. It can't. Healing starts with an ache, and it becomes a call, and it continues to call out until it's attended to. So if your healing is calling out to you, if your heart is aching, if you're feeling like you're going to break, that is your everything saying, now is the time. Healing truly is winning. There are so many other ways that we can walk through this life, but healing, that's where the winning begins. You begin to win when you begin to heal. So, hey, you is not a moment. It's a healing movement. And if your healing is calling out to you, come join me. in the healing circle by joining me in Hey You.
Yes. Yes. And Tay, I know that so many of our listeners are going to want to stay connected. They're going to want to get their hands on both Hey You and Unfiltered, the kid who asked why. Can you share with our listeners where they can find your books and how they can connect with you online and just how they get into that circle, how they can stay tapped into the healing work that you're doing?
Absolutely. Hey You, again, as I mentioned earlier, is just the beginning of a healing workbook series. There are several other books coming out. And if you want to stay connected so that you can get up-to-date information about the pour when it comes out, because the pour is, Hey You was just the beginning. Once God gave me my words, they started pouring out literally. And there was so much that they could not be contained in just one book. So we do have the pour coming out I believe at the end of November. And over the next year, there'll be several more, and then there'll be Hey Dater. So I am single. I am a believer, and I also know that means that you have to fix those boundaries, understand yourself, and sometimes that means catching yourself before you catch feelings. So Hey Dater. So if you and then Hey Church Sis and Hey You Men, because I am a mom raising men. I'm a mom who has raised men. And I recognize that as the nurturers, God blessed us with the ability to steward nurturing and to love. And that's our responsibility to also extend that to the men in our lives and to teach them how to operate in that space. So if those things interest you, I'm also an empowerment speaker and workshop facilitator. So if you want someone to come and speak and talk about healing and identity and grief and just empowerment, growing and becoming, then you can reach me at griefcan'tholdme1@gmail.com. And I check that regularly. And also, if you're a social media person and you just want to follow me on my social media, TikTok, you can find me at Tay Robson, or you can find me on Facebook at Tay Robson, or Instagram at TayRob012.
Absolutely. And we will definitely be sure to include all of the links in the description for you guys. I will make sure that you guys have no excuse not to connect with my good sis. All right. And I really hope, family, that you guys caught that, because what Tay has shared with us today is more than a story. It is truly a lifeline. And so for those of you who are truly ready to step into your own becoming, belonging, and who want to breathe again, make sure you grab your own copy of Hey You. You know, if you want to pour in and honestly just be blessed, get a copy of Unfiltered. Understand why one child asked why. You know, like I said, it is blessing me. And if nothing else, you're going to learn a little gamer talk. Okay. Some of the things that they're saying that we're not picking up what they're putting down. I think that Unfiltered answered some of those questions for me with my own 17-year-old. So again, you guys, remember, you don't have to heal alone. We are all living this thing called life. We're growing together. And like I said, it just takes one breath, one moment, just one day at a time.
That's right.
Now, family, before we part ways, I just want to, first and foremost, Tay, sis, thank you. Thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for being obedient to what God is calling you to do. I know that it is not an easy journey, but it is a journey that you have just embraced. And you said, okay, God, if this is what you want me to do, I'm going to do it. So I thank you for your obedience. And like I said, just your willingness to be here with us today, to share your story, to share your family, right? It's a whole family thing now, to share the family with us. Let them know they got a new auntie in the house, okay? I'm here for it. I am supporting them. And, you know, always here to encourage all of you to keep going, keep fighting, because I truly believe in what you guys are doing. So I just thank you for being here, Queen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, anytime. And, you know, when part 2 comes out, come back. Part 3, come back. We always have an open seat for you. Okay. The door is always open. You are family. All right. We are family now. So that Tay to Tay combo, they gonna learn today, girl. Okay. They get Tay today.
That's right. TNT. Exactly. And we all know what happens when you bring TNT together. Listen, you get explosion.
Boom, right? Now, again, self-care family, before we part ways, let me just leave you guys with a little love and light. As always, I encourage you to keep breathing through the highs, the lows, and all the moments in between. I encourage you to keep choosing peace, even when it feels out of reach. And know that here at the Self Care Club, you are always seen, you will always be supported, and you will always be loved here. Okay? We value you, we see you. So don't be afraid to take up space, to speak your truth, and to make a little room for you to breathe. I love each and every one of you to life. And I am praying that your day is not just amazing, but aligned, intentional, and yes, on purpose, filled with purpose. This has been a Room to Breathe podcast, and I cannot wait to connect with you all again soon. Until next time.